Since Yuji has proven himself to be amongst the special grade sorcerers within Jujutsu Kaisen, we thought what better than to place him against each of the special grade sorcerers. Given all four have what it takes to be placed at the top of the grading system, could current Yuji possibly hope to take all of them down? Since this concept is fresh and unique, we hope everyone enjoys. Consider liking and subscribing to help us on our road to 10k. You won't regret it since we've got more fun and unique matchups to be discussed. And if you do, you could always unsub in the future. Without further delay, enjoy.
For Yuji, we're just going to be scaling this current arc since this is the best state he is in right now. He learned RCT and Simple Domain all within a month. Simple Domain granting him the ability to nullify the sure hit attacks a domain expansion gives you, and RCT grants healing to the user. And now wielding two innate curse techniques being Blood Manipulation and Shrine, along with Divergent Fist which packs 2 punches into 1. And with Post Awakening, he was able to land 7 consecutive Black Flashes, which obviously no other sorcerer has pulled off before. And now with the recent chapter, Yuji now has access to a domain expansion. And at the time of this recording, we don't really know what it does just yet. All of this along with his top tier endurance and adaptability, Yuji now definitely deserves the title of special grade.
To go over what the special grade sorcerers bring to the table against Yuji, we'll start with Gojo since he's going to be the easiest to briefly explain. His limitless technique grants him control over the area around him, allowing him to infinitely divide the space between himself and any incoming attack. This technique is nearly impossible to bypass, but there are a few exceptions. Extreme durability and endurance, since Limitless deactivates shortly after using his domain expansion, shown in the Sukuna fight. Additionally, Gojo possesses the blue technique, which attracts objects, the red technique, which repels objects, potentially acting as a blast as well. When combined, these techniques create purple, an imaginary mass that obliterates anything on an atomic level. Gojo has also shown to be very skilled in hand-to-hand combat. His 6 eyes, which enhance his perception and ability to analyze techniques, also granting him near limitless stamina and cursed energy. Simple domain negating and protecting effects of other domains, RCT to reverse damage taken mid-battle, and on rare occasions he can teleport, I guess. Lastly, his domain expansion, Unlimited Void, ensures that any attack within it is unavoidable, filling the opponent with knowledge, nuking their brain essentially. Gojo's curse technique and that of cursed spirit manipulation allows Geto to control and command a large number of cursed spirits, each with unique powers. This ability allows him to use these spirits for both offensive and defensive purposes, as well as to summon and merge them to create a powerful combination of blasts, being that of Maximum Uzumaki. He's also shown to have decent up-close combat skills against Yuta. Yuki's innate curse technique, Star Rage, augments her to essentially increase her physical impact without the downsides of having additional mass. This virtual mass enhancement lets her hit with immense force, so powerful that she could punch through Kenjaku's arms and disrupt the Star Corridor's repeating cycle. At first, I was confused on what Garuda actually does, but nevertheless, Yuki is able to apply the Star Rage technique to her Shikigami. Garuda can act independently or follow her commands. Garuda has demonstrated versatility, being used as a soccer ball, a chain, and an encapturement. Not sure if that's a word, let's just call it restraint or bond. Her ultimate ability allows her to transform into a black hole. This transformation causes her body to lose its shape due to the extreme mass involved. This ability kills both her and her opponent, acting as a last-ditch effort. Yuki further possesses a simple domain and the ability to use RCT, with her domain expansion remaining to be unseen. Now for Yuta, I won't be talking about his Gojo form since, well, Gojo is here, but nevertheless, Yuta's copy curse technique allows him to copy innate techniques and wield them as his own, capable of rapidly using multiple different techniques. Curse speech compels listeners to act accordingly, sky manipulation controlling the sky, converting it into a tangible surface, and thin icebreaker being an offensive attack, Jacob's ladder that extinguishes any curse technique exposed to the light, clairvoyance that augments precog, Sukuna's very own shrine technique giving Yuta cleave and dismantle, and the queen of curses Rika, remaining by Yuta's side every fight, virtually being a 2v1 no matter the circumstance. RCT, and finally his domain expansion Mutual Love, granting Yuta with endless sure hit attacks from his copied curse technique.
Beginning with Yuji vs Geto. Yuji's only problem is gonna come from Geto's curses. While I don't think he's gonna struggle significantly, I do think 4000 curses could slightly trouble Yuji. But given Yuji has RCT, great endurance, and durability paired with the speed and strength advantage, he's gonna be taking this really easily. His slashes and raw punches should just clear dozens of curses with every hit. And even then, Yuji can just tank and endure everything Geto has to throw at him.
Moving on to next, we have Yuji vs Yuki. This fight is very interesting since Yuki can increase the mass of her punches, effectively altering the AP. While I don't think Yuji could tank every punch, his arm should be quite sufficient, as we've seen Yuji's arms able to take multiple slashes from Sukuna, whereas his body is getting damaged. Yuki also has Garuda, making this fight a minor 2v1 for Yuji. Maybe Garuda restrains Yuji and Yuki deals the final blow. I do think Yuji could deal with the Shikigami, but it's going to cost him some damage, as Yuki could use this as a distraction attacking Yuji. Yuji with his divergent fist and black flashes could definitely go back and forth with Yuki, granting him the edge. The blood from Yuji could also possibly poison Yuki, since we know it shares the same composition as Choso. While this is headcanon, it's still a possibility. Yuji's other win cons would stem from his domain. Since we haven't seen Yuki's domain, this point would have to go to Yuji. Although Yuki does have simple domain, we really don't know Yuji's domain just yet. And if things were to go really bad for Yuki, she could just use her black hope, killing them both. While I do think Yuki presents the most win cons of the two, I still think the fight could go either way. If you think Yuji's endurance paired with his RCT and innate techniques would overwhelm Yuki, then he wins. On the contrary, if you believe Yuki's Star Rage technique and experience is too much for Yuji to handle, then Yuki wins. For the video, let's just say Yuji wins, as I do think his adaptive nature and black flash attacks are enough to surpass Yuki.
Now for Yuji vs Yuta. We have seen these two fight before, with Yuta being the clear superior sorcerer, but a lot has changed for Yuji since then. Let's start with the 2v1 aspect. Rika and Yuta are going to be a massive problem for Yuji to handle. While they can't kill Yuji as quick as they like to, they're definitely going to be pushing Yuji on the back pedal. Rika with her blast and Yuta halting Yuji with curse speech is going to cause a massive issue for Yuji. He does have the means to bypass this, however. While I don't think he's one-tapping Rika, his only means to remove her from the fight is going to be consecutive black flashes and dismantles. If the fight was to come to a domain clash, we gotta infer Yuta takes this given the experience advantage. Until we learn more about Yuji and his domain, Yuta's domain is gonna overwhelm Yuji's. Yuji does have simple domain to null effects of Yuta's domain, but it's gonna be cut short since Rika is involved. While Yuji could keep pace with both Yuta and Rika, I don't see him beating the both of them since he's gonna be on the defensive for the majority of the fight. Yuji vs Yuta 1v1 is drastically different though, as his curse technique rations aren't gonna be at full capacity. While it's a 1v1, Yuta's gonna be on the defensive for this encounter, since Yuji is far better than Yuta in terms of hand-to-hand and overall close quarters combat. The only option here for Yuta is his domain expansion. Like we discussed earlier, Yuta's domain should win the clash, but this time Yuji can bypass this with simple domain. Once the barrier is broken down and the fight continues with close combat, I see Yuji taking this fight, using both of his innate techniques and endurance to gain the victory. Yuta does have the potential to take this, but without Rika, he can't take the necessary measures to defeat Yuji.
Lastly, Yuji vs Gojo. I think this fight is pretty much obvious since Yuji doesn't have any counter to Gojo's infinity. Like I've said many times previously, but maybe in the future when we learn more about Yuji's domain expansion and give Yuji enough time, by the end of the series, who knows, maybe Yuji could surpass his sensei. Until then, Gojo is winning this fight.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We have a ton of videos on the way, so be sure to hit notice as well to never miss out on any of the uploads. If you want more Jujutsu Kaisen videos or concepts similar to this, let us know. Peace.